Friends, hello? In February, all your money might be taken. Ask who initiated it. I'll tell you, it was the Prime Minister of Ukraine, Yulia Svyrydenko. She is the initiator of draft law number 14,327, the draft law on amendments to certain legislative acts of Ukraine to ensure compliance with the acts of European Union law and the relevant criteria established by the European Union Payment Council. The goal is for Ukraine to join the Single Euro Payments Area now. I will explain everything to you in detail and clearly. But you need to understand right away that joining the European Union will lead to such consequences in all areas of life. Let me tell you what this bill is specifically about. The official goal is to bring Ukrainian legislation in line with European Union standards and to join Single Euro Payments Area. This is a single payment area and the receipt of tens of billions of euros. The most important thing here is getting tens of billions of euros. What they really want is a sharp increase in financial control over citizens, I'm telling you this personally, expanding financial monitoring into all areas of life, and creating an infrastructure for constant surveillance of your money. And here we need to highlight 2 points right away. Bringing Ukraine's legislation in line with European Union standards, and we need this. So let's immediately ask ourselves this question. If bringing Ukraine's laws in line with European Union standards is made a top priority, if it makes you poorer, if it immobilizes your money, then logic should work here. Is this beneficial for you or not? For you, for us, it's not beneficial. What about the tens of billions of euros in the program? Do you know if it's for paying debts or covering social payments? This isn't about developing Ukraine, about investments, about us becoming, as I've been saying lately, a breakout country. In a good way. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about theft and maintaining the current rotten system. And we've only just begun. Can you say why Yulia Svyrydenko was made Prime Minister? A young woman, I keep repeating this, a young woman, she should have had a different mentality. But no, she's part of the Soros crowd that came to serve the current rotten system. These are template politicians. She doesn't have any original ideas in her mind, nothing to make everyone say, wow. Consider what's happening in Ukraine and the reforms they've made. You can also notice positive innovations. Life and business have become easier, with less government pressure. During the war, while I'm without electricity, without heat, like most of you under Putin's rockets, we keep pushing through. Economically, we keep going. I just want you to understand that this bill isn't about Europe, it's about total control. Tightening the process of opening bank accounts. Opening a bank account is a basic human need, and here's what's changing now when you open one. If this is passed, when you open a bank account, they will be required to check your actual place of residence, not just your registered address. If your registration address doesn't match your actual residence, they'll ask for documents. So, if you live in a rented apartment, you will now be legally required to inform the bank about it. And possible requirements include a rental agreement, proof of temporary residence, and additional certificates. The real consequences are more refusals to open accounts. These are my own comments that I'm adding now. Problems for displaced persons. People who have suffered the most from the war. Think about it. People without official rental agreements. In Ukraine, the shadow rental market exists not because all tenants and landlords are bad people. This tax system was not created so that people could use it and sleep peacefully after paying a little tax, so that everyone could afford it. You can't pay taxes in this system, you can't rent out an apartment in the poor Ukrainian market and pay more than 20% in value-added tax and have an accountant to file declarations. Banks have shifted from serving to controlling, which is already the case. Adopting this will increase their control. Next. Continuing the requirement to disclose all accounts means a new level of financial monitoring. When opening an account, the bank may require information about your other bank accounts, account details, international bank account numbers, and actual statements showing the movement of funds. What does this mean? Basically a financial declaration. When opening an account, banks will get a complete picture of your finances. The principle of banking secrecy is disappearing, which unfortunately has long been gone in Ukraine. A single bank will know more about you than tax authorities once did. You get it, right? Let's move on. Even stricter controls are coming for those linked to so-called Financial Action Task Force risk countries. Who does this affect? If you lived, were registered, or participated in financial transactions, if even one participant in the transaction is connected to a country from the so-called Financial Action Task Force blacklist, does this apply to you? This includes Russia, formerly Bulgaria, Croatia, South Africa, Monaco, and Nigeria. What will be required from you is proof of the origin of your assets. How about this? You bought something or received something back in 1990 or some other year. Confirm the origin of your assets, proof of income sources, tax declarations. Okay, 5 and okay, 7 certificates, inheritance documents, and gift agreements. For business, this includes information about partners, the structure of operations, and an explanation of the purpose of each operation. Friends, you've seen it. You understand when you're prevented from doing business, even small business. We're not even talking about medium or large businesses right now. Small entrepreneurship is the driver of any healthy, normal economy. If you have to explain every operation, you'll either give up, close down, or go underground when you're constantly being monitored over every little penny. While Mendici Sukermans in Israel have stored hundreds of millions and Yermak holds billions in crypto with Zelensky, they'll still demand over 15,000 hryvnias from you. Why did you do it, and where did you send it? This is life for a country that hasn't yet come out of a state of war that's in a humanitarian catastrophe. Is this what you deserve? Please tell me right in the comments. And on top of that, enhance financial monitoring on a permanent basis. With every new transfer, new documents. In fact, you have to justify your own money in advance. Then it gets even better. This concerns fewer people, but it's just a real spectacle. Control over online casinos, bets and winnings now includes mandatory financial monitoring for bets or winnings of 55,000 hryvnias or more. Friends, what is 55,000 hryvnias? $1,200 or $1,300. Both individual bets and total transaction amounts are considered. People betting 55,000 hryvnias per year is about 5,000 hryvnias or $100, $120, and betting $120 is barely anything. On the scale of the economy, that's insignificant, yet you'll still have to report it. Online casinos act as financial control agents, sharing data with the government, creating tax and legal risks, and increasing pressure on players and the legal market. As I mentioned, it may seem to impact fewer people, but it actually affects everyone. Because the principle is, wherever your hryvnia goes, officially they'll squeeze you dry, they'll check everything about you. The way Ukrainian legislation works, it's basically Soviet. You need to have a way to get a hold of every citizen. And you know, in the European Union, those are wealthy countries, that's old Europe, they have culture, they practically have no corruption, they have honest courts. You see, everything is established there, and in the end, they have a market, they have a real market. But here we have a bombed out, impoverished country. And that's still not even the registry of citizens' accounts and bank safes, meaning safe deposit boxes, that used to be a way to store valuables or even cash and documents. Basically, now there's no confidentiality there either, because a centralized registry of all accounts and safes is being created, with the administrator being the state tax service. Law enforcement agencies have access. Law enforcement agencies that fabricate cases left and right, that open criminal cases just for a post on the internet. These corrupt law enforcement agencies will have access. What will be stored is information about every account, every bank safe deposit box. The data will be kept for 5 years after closure. For now, they won't store the amounts in the accounts or the contents of the safe deposit boxes. Today they ignore the amounts, but tomorrow they'll pay attention, as you know. This is my last favorite point. The expansion of the circle of informants, financial monitoring informants, of course in quotation marks, because it's not that these people or professions are bad. This government will force people to become informants. People's Commissariat for Internal Affairs agents. Gestapo against their own people. So who? Added to this list are dealers in cultural valuables, the art market, galleries, auctions, in other words, people involved in this, collectors. Do you understand antiques? Now they will have to report to the tax authorities, like, for example, if someone bought a painting from me for $50,000 in cash, I have to report it to the tax office. And if I don't, then I will be guilty under the law. Do you understand how the law works? And then someone comes to you and says, hey buddy, show me where you got those $50,000 from. You bought a painting there, but maybe you spent your whole life saving up those $50,000. You just wanted to, you know, life in Ukraine is like that now. You never know when it'll end because of these attacks. Did you want to buy a painting or something else? And how can you, in a country where there isn't even a proper financial system, where there's nothing, show where you got this money from? These people aren't made for normal life. This country is just completely losing all boundaries. And I don't understand why people, not even going out into the streets, but just not protesting at all. Not even online, not a single speaker comes out. I'm on your side, basically, against all of this. You see, these aren't small things. This is the main point. And what's the main marker? It's not just that life will get harder. They don't even have the idea of making Ukraine a great, rich, happy country. And actually, all of this that I just read to you, this is the lack of a security guarantee. Because with such rules, you will never become rich, and they don't need you. Rich, not oligarchs, but well-off, self-sufficient people. Their goal is for you to dance in circles around the generator when the power is on, to drink in the yard and celebrate when the power is on. That way, it's very easy to control you. And if all the rest, if that's not there, then you'll be able to want even more. And as for themselves, I want to tell you, because the older generation is watching, they're not aware. You probably hear, right? In Monaco, Liechtenstein, in Dubai, they transfer money. Do you know why to Dubai and Monaco? There's no financial monitoring there at all, you see. The money goes where it's not examined under a microscope, not controlled, and no one grabs you by the hand. Dubai and the Arab Emirates benefit from global investments and attract people with their very liberal tax system. Rich people live in Monaco. Well, mostly embezzlers from different countries. About 80%, but still, there's no financial monitoring. You bring in money and no one questions its source or legitimacy. We're talking about billions, hundreds of millions of dollars or euros. And they want to ask you for a report over 5,000 hryvnias or 55. In such conditions, nobody develops, neither individuals nor the whole country. And Poland will keep outpacing us by 50 years, then by 100 years. To catch up and surpass them, we need to create the most neoliberal, libertarian conditions and economy in Ukraine. Money should flow freely without control, allowing it from everywhere. Current financial monitoring meets only what the international community requires. But that's not our responsibility. It's the International Monetary Fund's. So goodbye. We don't need the International Monetary Fund. You ask us about your tens of billions of euros. How are we supposed to pay them back? Cut government spending. Shut down 80% of the ministries, to hell with them. Cut government size and end wasteful spending, and you'll see significant savings. I can also explain the Ukrainian budget structure separately. All of this is done for stealing, not for building a great country. Please think about it, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends, so that as many people as possible can understand and figure out what's really happening in Ukraine. Where do the Svyrydenkos and all of this originate? They don't follow these laws themselves. They live in Monaco, Dubai, and elsewhere. Yet they write laws for us that make life impossible just to rob us. They'll live under a new financial system, exploit Ukraine, and continue enjoying life in Monaco. They'll call themselves businessmen and laugh at us, whom they see as fools. That's all there is to it. I urge you to take my side against all this crap and stand up for common sense. Thank you. Leave your comments. What do you think about this so far?